I don't know how many of you guys have seen Full Metal Jacket. My dad like wrote the movie, and it's kind of a secret because like he wasn't Private Joker. He was the Duke, and I'll tell you the full story. So if you watch Full Metal Jacket, like they start chanting like "I don't know what I've been told, Eskimo pussy's mighty cold." Well, that's because he was in Alaska. He was in North Pole, Alaska, and I think the reason they were out there was to train him to like kidnap indigenous girls. Like they were kidnapping Eskimos. The Vietnam War, what I found out, was about kidnapping Vietnamese girls, and I think it was inevitable that Vietnamese girls were going to get kidnapped because like they're like probably the hottest Asians, and that's probably why they have the best food. Like as weird as it sounds, like we will put the best food in the country where we know that these people are going to go kidnap girls. But yeah, Private Joker, he was called the Duke when he was over there. If you watch Full Metal Jacket, he's always talking. He's always talking about Pilgrim. He was called the Duke because he was the best shooter. And a little background on Private Joker. Like his grandfather was a bootlegger. Like he trafficked in alcohol. They were race car drivers. That guy's brother like was like did the space missions at NASA. Like he was like the chief scientist at NASA. If you've ever watched what's that movie with Gemma Simmons? Like you know it, like Agents of Shield. There's Gemma. Well, Gene Simmons was the guy from NASA. That's my family member. All right, so but his father was a truck driver, or like he had a trucking company and a warehouse company. But like we were mafia, and yeah. So he was a tank commander, and he was like in charge of the tank. So like in the show, like he's not in charge ever. Like Cowboy's in charge after the guy dies, and then like Animal's like I'm in charge, and he's like, well, yeah, Animal's in charge. But in reality, like I think it's the story of him tracking down like a Vietnamese child prostitute. Like, because what I've learned is that like there's a lot of child prostitution going on. Like we are in the cloning business. Like we clone girls and sell them, and like I think that like that's why like I knew Henry Kissinger when I was growing up. Like I was always at his house as like a very small child. The way my dad explained it, he had a machine gun pistol, and they would just kill him. And like, was my dad a killer? He tried to kill me. Like he punched me in the throat. Like I had a bruise on my throat. Like, but like I'm like a pretty good fighter. Like my dad has like beaten me like unconscious before, and like I've seen like him like really hurt someone. So like I think that like he hurt my brother. Like he broke his nose, and like but he knocked me unconscious. Like I was like very beaten. Like everyone at Baylor knew like I had gotten the shit kicked out of me because the Duke was like 6'5". Like he was actually Johnny Bench. That's what my dad looked like. Like his military picture, if you see it, like that's what he looked like when he was young. Like he was big though. He was 6'4", 6'5". Like he was like the last person you'll ever want to fight. I mean, like he really was a pro baseball player after he got out of the military. He walked onto the Reds. Like he like just like they had a tryout. I didn't know he was Johnny Bench. Like I thought he played first base and that he broke his leg sliding into second base. Like he like never told me he was Johnny Bench ever. But then I like looked up Johnny Bench, and like that forward facing picture was like it's like his military picture. So my dad said that they used to like just kill him, and like in Full Metal Jacket, like he's Marine, he's not Army, and they're not in Alaska ever, and like but my dad said like it was so cold one time he took a crap and he fell in the crap and it was frozen, like because that was what Alaska was like. He was in North Pole, Alaska, and I know a girl from North Pole, Alaska who's that hot. She's like a light skinned Eskimo. So my dad did say that like they would like kill him that much, and I think that's kind of what got the Vietnam War going. But if you watch like this movie, like Full Metal Jacket, like it seems like the story is like he's brainwashed to like kidnap girls and kill girls. Like you would never believe that's what's happening, but like he's immediately with the prostitutes. And my dad talked to me about the prostitutes. He said they were like he was with them all the time, and my dad was always afraid that like the Vietnamese would find him. Like you wouldn't want to go to Vietnamese restaurants. Like he was always kind of like afraid of it. He was like, I'm always afraid they're gonna give me like he was like what he told me about like writing Full Metal Jacket is like he moved to Florida. He was gonna write the Great American War novel, and like he was writing it, and then his dad died, so he moved back to Houston and he took over the trucking company. But like we were like mafia. I mean like, and then he went into the oil business later. Like by mafia, I mean like he probably trafficked a lot of cocaine because he told me like he dated like a really big coke dealer at one point. And like it was a girl, obviously. I mean, yeah. And he told me he grew marijuana, like he had like greenhouses, and like they had a trucking company, but like the grandfather had been selling alcohol with the Kennedys. And if you notice, like, he's in before the Tet Offensive is like the real story, like he was in there, and like that was under JFK, and then JFK got murdered. Probably that's related to kidnapping girls. I think it's an old business, is the sex trafficking business. So these people are just like killing people, and I think that's kind of what they did. Like he told me, like we just kill them, and like he kind of got to the point he was like feeling pretty bad about it. But like my dad was like a really nice guy. He's private joker, but he was the Duke, you know. Like I mean, my dad was someone that really believed in like fighting. Like you need to like be able to like fight. Like he took it pretty seriously. So there's a story of like this black guy like hitting on the prostitute, and like the white guy animal doesn't like it. And like, do I think that like this story's like changed up a lot? Like I think that like 8 Ball clearly gets killed in the story, and like I think that like it might have been a fist fight. Like my dad like talks about grown men fight. Like you don't know what it's like in real fights where people will kill each other. Like they will be, you don't know what it's like in Vietnam. Like they will fight until they're dead. And clearly there's like a lot of racism in this movie, and like clearly like my dad's character is like who like, or well no, cowboys who kills him. Like just like, oh, like no, I don't know who kills like 8 Ball. Like I mean like it was pretty clear, like we're just gonna like, here, black guy, you're gonna die. And I think that's what they were doing. My dad talked about it, like friendly fire. Like his entire tank crew got killed. He got out of the tank, he's next to the tank, his entire tank crew dies. And like he knows, like he didn't tell me he knew that the military was killing people, but I think that a lot of this was like covering up like people that knew about what the mission was about. Clearly like this is a kid with a gun that can't shoot for crap, and like Animal's pretty serious about her, but Animal like wasn't actually in charge. Like who was actually in charge was my dad. And like in the movie, like his gun jams, my dad always complained about the M16. Like he would never shut up about it. Like he was like the gun's like the worst gun. Like that was the worst thing they ever did, was give us M16s. Like instead of AK-47s, AK-47s can handle the mud and dirt. Like M16 will handle it. Like there's nothing like having your gun jam. My dad had he got a Purple Heart with a leaf on it, because I think he got like hit in the head with shrapnel, and he got shot in the leg. And I'm guessing he got shot in the leg by this little girl. So there's a very real question: was Private Joker a good guy or the Duke? Like, what? Like, and like, I mean, I think that like he was pretty funny, and like he like kind of wanted to mind his own business later, and like you really felt bad about it. We had a rule in my house. Like I made sure like you're not allowed to watch Full Metal Jacket. Like he's not allowed to watch like any Vietnam movies. But then like he watches Fury, which is about tanks, and like you can't watch that one because he was a tank commander, and I think he was like brainwashed, and I think he was brainwashed to be racist, and like I think that like, and he was murdered, and that's like kind of the end of the story. Like you can go to my Instagram, like my Instagram is embarrassing, but you can go to spy_studios, and there's a video like of me in a nursing home, like I'm wearing a mask, in like the preview of it. Like it's not very far down, and like they were trying to kill my dad, like to cover up for like the full situation, because like, I mean, he really was that involved with the like sex trafficking stuff. I found a lot of my friends for sale on the internet, like, but they're not. They're just like doing like prostitution and like OnlyFans and stuff like that. And it's like kind of been a crazy process. Like that, my ex-girlfriend is Mia Khalifa. Like, and like maybe like they traded her out. Like she never told me she spoke Arabic ever. I was the one that spoke Arabic. I learned Arabic, and I lived in the Middle East. I lived in Egypt. I ended up working for the CIA, and or military is what I always kind of viewed it as. Is like I was working for the DIA, but like my dad, like I mean, he went into drug and alcohol education. He like started third millennium classrooms. Like if you like done like the alcohol course or marijuana course or sexual assault course, I wrote the alcohol course and the marijuana course, like the old versions of it, and I wrote the old version of the shoplifting course. But like, he wasn't the best writer. You'd never believe that the guy who wrote Full Metal Jacket's like not that good of a writer. I think he mostly just like documented like this crazy ass drill instructor, and like and told stories. But yeah, a lot of my friends are in the sex trafficking business. Like Venus Vixen, the porn star. Like I knew her as like I knew like her clone as a kid, like a very young kid. All right, so that's it.